Okay, and now, like I say, he does, through this, he does his miracles and overcomes and all that. So, which I told you at the beginning of the book, so I've not left anything out, but I'm just going through and telling you what I see. Now, he says that when he was come to the other side of the country of Gergesenes, there met him two possessed with the devils, coming out of the tombs exceedingly fierce, so that no man might pass by the way. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with you, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? So they know that there's a time that they're going to be judged and cast into the lake of fire. But also, they know him by name. They know what's going to happen to him. They know him. And before that time, so there's going to be a time coming. But the thing is, we know him. We know his name. We say, we've heard about him and all this. Yet they know him too, but they're going to hell. So what makes people in this life different than the demons? Because we know the name of Jesus. Just something to think about. Chapter 10. He says, And when he had called unto him his 12 disciples, he gave them power against unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of diseases. Now the names of the 12 apostles are these: the first Simon, who is called Peter, and Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the publican, James the son of Alphaeus, and Lebbaeus, whose surname is Thaddeus, Simon the Canaanite, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. And these 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, Go not in the way of the Gentiles, and into any cities of the Samaritans enter ye not, but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as ye go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the leper, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely you give. Now you think about that. He gave these 12 people the power that he had to cast out demons and to heal. Now I just say, I'm not having got further into the New Testament, but right now, I feel that these 12 are the only ones that had the power to touch people and heal. Because he gave them the powers. Okay, and then he says, Think not that I'm come to send peace on earth. I come not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set man at variance against his father, and the daughters against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foe shall be they of his own household. And he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross falleth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. Now you think about that. He didn't come to send peace on earth the first time. He came to send a sword to make people against each other. Different views, different opinions. And that's why the world is like it is today, which was like that before he came, but still he didn't come to send peace. Peace is not until his second coming. And it's saying, to put God first, to put Jesus first, because if you love your children more than him, then you're not worthy of him. If you love your parents more than him, you're not worthy of him. Okay, chapter 11, 30. He says, Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. He'll comfort us. We get tired of this life, and we get tired of the stress in everyday life, and having to work, and having to pay bills, and trying to get by, and you're worried about your kids in school and worried about going to work, because there's crazy people out there and just driving on the road. We get tired and worn out and, are late or heavily burdened and stuff, but we can go on to Him and call on Him, and He'll give us rest. And we forget that because we get so busy on everything, and it just becomes a habit. But now, call on Him and believe and trust in Him, and He'll give you rest from the stress of everyday life. And then, so He gives more parables. 13. I'll give you one that's the wheats and the tares of what they mean. And He said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that soweth them is the devil. And the harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. Therefore the tares are gathered and burned in fire, so it shall be in the end of the world. And the Son of Man shall send forth His angels, and they shall gather out of His kingdom all the things that offend, and them which do not iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace, which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire, and there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. So you think about that. There's good people and bad people. The children of the wicked ones are obviously the ones that deny Christ, that deny Him and His purpose, and that He is the true Son of God. Let's see. And then He goes to Nazareth, where He was born and or He was raised at as a child. He was there growing up, playing in the streets. And it came to pass, when Jesus finished these parables, He departed thence, and when He was come to His own country, He taught them in their synagogue. Insomuch they were astonished, and said, Whence hath this man this wisdom, and these mighty works? Is not this the carpenter's son? And is not his mother called Mary, and his brethren James and Joseph, Simon and Judas? And his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence then hath this man all these things? And they were offended at Him. And Jesus said unto him, A prophet is not without honor, but save in his own country and his own house. And He did not many works there because of their unbelief. In other chapters or books of Mark, Luke, and John, it'll get more in depth into that. They tried to stone Him. They wanted to kill Him. The own people that seen Him grow up. So, in your Christian life, you got to realize there's going to be certain people that you're going to try to talk to, and you're not going to be able to reach them, because Jesus can't even reach everybody. And then it goes into the transfiguration. He had, it says, After 6 days Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up to an high mountain apart. And He was transfigured there before them, and His face did shine as the sun, and His raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias, talking with them. And then answered Peter and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If Thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for Thee, and one for Moses, and the other one for Elias. And while he yet spake, behold, a light cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye Him. And the disciples heard it, and they fell on their faces and were sore afraid. And Jesus touched them and said, Arise, be not afraid. And when they lifted their eyes, they saw no man save Jesus only. And as they came down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, saying, Tell the vision to no one until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. And the disciples asked Him, saying, Why then say the scribes that Elias must come first? And Jesus answered unto them, Elias truly shall become first and restore all things. But I say unto you, Elias is already come, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them. And then His disciples understood that He spake unto them of John the Baptist. See, John the Baptist had the spirit of Elijah coming before Christ, which was prophesied in the Old Testament. Then, of course, you got His betrayal. He said, While they abode in Galilee, Jesus said to them, The Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of men, and they shall kill Him, and the third day He shall be raised again. And they were exceeding sorry. He told them, I'm going to be betrayed. And then He also says, Verily I say unto you, except you be converted and become as little children, you should not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as a little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. See, think about that now. We got to be humble, but we got a lot of people that's prideful, and they've lost that humility of being a child and just accepting Christ and just, the spirit of a child. You know how they are. They're all, oh yeah, I'm happy. Yes, they believe everything. We got to have that spirit of a child in us and have the humility of a child to follow Christ and to believe in Him and trust in Him. 19. He says, behold, one said unto him, Good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? And he said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. And he said unto him, which Jesus said, Thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, honor thy father and thy mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. The young man saith unto him, All these things have I kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? And Jesus taught him, If thou be perfect, and go sell all that you have, and give it to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. He told him to give up everything and follow him. He kept the commandments and the law and stuff, but he told him to give everything up. And the young man heard that saying, and went away sorrowfully, for he had great possessions. Then Jesus said unto his disciples, Verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. When the disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, Who then can be saved? But Jesus beheld them, and said unto them, With men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Do you think about that now? Jesus told him, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit on a throne in his glory, ye shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Now these 12 disciples, excluding Judas Iscariot, because he killed himself, and I think Paul is the 12th disciple after that, but they're going to be judging. So they're going to be the shepherds that was spoken of in the Old Testament and the future kingdom. Okay, 28, is it chapter 20? Where am I at here? Verse 16. And then our positions in heaven is, so the last shall be first, and the first last. For many be called, but few are chosen. You think about that. Are we called or are we chosen? What we lack here, and the people raising up in these churches and being all high and mighty, they're going to be the lowest. And the ones that went to church being abused by these preachers and teachers and church members, they're going to be before them in the kingdom of heaven. Now his purpose, he says, even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. That was his purpose. That's why he came, to give his life a ransom, so that we may have life. He says, Verily I say unto you, if ye have faith, and doubt not, ye shall not only do this which is done to the fig tree, but ye shall also say unto this mountain, Be thou moved, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done. In all things whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive. That's faith there now. So I ask you, have you moved any mountains lately? You think about that. Have you moved any mountains? Everything's possible through Christ, if we have faith. And then our future life is for the resurrection. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as angels of God in heaven. So you think about that. When we're in the new life, we won't be married. Our spouses we have in this life, we better enjoy them now. Enjoy that God put you together with your spouse, because in heaven, you're not going to be married to that spouse. You're not going to have a marriage except for being the bride of Christ. Okay, chapter. And this is signs of the end. Some has happened, some has not. Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deliver many. And ye shall hear of wars, and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilence, earthquakes in diverse places. And these are the beginnings of sorrows. This is going on now, but that's the beginning of sorrows. We haven't reached the sorrows yet. And this is concerning the Jews. He says, Then they shall deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and hate one another. And many false prophets shall arise, and shall deceive many. Because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come. The gospel is being preached to all the world now. When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. That hasn't happened yet. It wasn't Antiochus Epiphanes, because that happened before this was written. He says, Then let them which be in Judea flee to the mountains, and let him which is on the housetop not come down and take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor shall ever shall be. So that's obviously something that hasn't happened yet. He says, immediately after the tribulation of those days, shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with great sounds of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds and from the end of heaven to the other. That's the end. That's going to happen future. That hasn't happened yet. This speaks of judgment. He says, When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, all the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall all be gathered all the nations, and he shall separate them one from the other, as a shepherd divideth the sheep and his goats. He shall set the sheep on his right hand and the goats on his left. And basically the sheep will go to heaven, and the goats will be cast into outer darkness. 26 verse 2. Okay. He says, You know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. So he's going to be betrayed. It said, And one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests, and said unto them, What will ye give me, and I will deliver him unto you? And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he sought the opportunity to betray him. So Judas Iscariot betrayed him. Let me check my minutes. Okay, 23 minutes, okay. And then they, of course, have the Passover. The disciples did as Jesus had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. And when the evening was come, he sat down with his 12, and they did eat. And he said, Verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. And they were exceeding sorrowful. And he began every one of them to say